Hey everyone, here's my video ranking every maze at Universal Studios Hollywood Halloween Horror Nights 2023. I've been going to Halloween Horror Nights at Universal Studios Hollywood for 13 years now, and this was another great year with a solid lineup of mazes and shows. Starting at the bottom this year is Terror Tram. I've always loved the Terror Tram and I'm glad they kept it around after 2019. But unfortunately, this was one of my least favorite years they've done. I loved the costumes and masks this year for the bug characters and the host. But overall this year it just wasn't very scary to me. They went in a more comedic route and it just wasn't my favorite. Plus, both times that I went on the Terror Tram, there were very few actors. And working Terror Tram, I know that usually those actors are pulled and sent to the other mazes when they're short on actors. So I understand the tram being low staffed. Next up, at number 8, is Holidays in Hell. Now I really liked this maze in 2019, and it was great to see it back, but unfortunately it was pretty much a copy and paste of 2019, except there was no scare zone at the end and the Christmas section was shortened down. And I wish they had done something a little different with it this year. Added some other holidays like Hanukkah or something. So that's why Holidays is near the bottom. At number 7 is The Exorcist Believer. Now honestly, I was never very optimistic about the film, and after seeing all the reviews, I guess I was right. But that doesn't always mean a haunted house will be bad or good. There's definitely been mazes in the past that were much better than the films, like Truth or Dare. This was one of the creepier mazes of the year, with some pretty good scares and cool creature designs. But overall, I just didn't enjoy it as much as some of the other mazes, so it was still lower on my list. Again, like I said, this was a good year with a great lineup, so it was tough to choose, because I enjoyed all of these. Number 6 is the Universal Monsters Unmasked. I did like the setting of the Paris catacombs and the lineup of lesser-known monsters like the Hunchback and Jekyll and Hyde. Unfortunately, like other mazes in the past, I feel like this one had too many black walls and empty spaces. I wish they at least had more walls covered in skulls versus just black emptiness. But there were really cool effects like the Hunchback torturing that guy, or like the burning cauldron effect where fog gets sprayed in our faces. Also, I always loved seeing the Invisible Man, but was really disappointed that he only had one scene again. I feel like there's so much potential with an Invisible Man maze and different scares you could do with that same technique. Hopefully they bring him back again in the future. Number 5 is Stranger Things. I love the show Stranger Things and I really liked the first maze they did in 2018. 2019 was fun but definitely not as good as the first year. And this year I think the season 4 maze was definitely better than 2, but I don't know if it beats the original. It was great to see lots of Vecna scares and his world in the Upside Down, and the death of Chrissy and other iconic scenes from the season. But overall, it still wasn't my favorite of the year, so it lands right in the middle of my list. Number 4 is The Last of Us. This is one of my all-time favorite games, and I've been waiting for this maze for a decade. I think the sets in this maze were fantastic, and the costumes for the clickers and bloaters were great. The Joels and Ellies were all great, and there were a lot of cool effects, especially the armored car that was shooting at you. Unfortunately, I don't think there were enough scares with the clickers and bloaters and too many spots with just Joel and Ellie talking. I get the video game references like the gate being locked or working on the generator, but I just wish the maze was a little scarier. But it was still one of my favorites of the year. At number 3 on my list was Monstros, the Latin Legends maze, whatever it was called, the title's way too long. This maze was really cool. Much like La Llorona the year before, this is another one of my favorite original mazes they've done in years. I love the giant animatronic bird creature and all the different stages as she's transforming. And again, this year the scare zone was filled with lots of memorable creatures. I also think Monstros is one of the scariest mazes this year. At number 2 is Chucky. Chucky is another maze I've been wanting for a long time. I've always liked that he was included in the Terror Tram or other things like that, but I was disappointed that it was always just small actors in costumes with chainsaws. I always wanted more animatronics and puppets, and this year they finally gave it to us. Now I know this maze wasn't the scariest to most people, up until the end at least where they go all out, but I love seeing how many animatronics and puppets they crammed into this place, and seeing so many iconic kills from the series and the movies. I love the beginning where we start off in the factory, and of course I love the ending in the woods where there's all the Chuckies coming at you from every angle, including the giant one. This was definitely a memorable maze for me, and one I wish I'd gone through more. And of course, my number 1 maze of 2023 is Evil Dead Rise. I was so excited for this maze last year when it was supposed to happen until they changed it to the Hotel Horror. That was due to the movie being pushed back to this year to release in theaters, which I'm glad they did because Evil Dead Rise was also my favorite horror movie of this year so far. After seeing the film, it made me even more excited for the maze, and I knew there wasn't going to be too much changed, obviously, because the sets were already built for Hotel Horror. But I love seeing all the possessed moms, the Ellies, with both makeup and the mask where the scissors are stabbed into her face. I love seeing the big marauder at the end coming at you, and all the bloody Beths with the chainsaws, and the scare towards the end where they're all coming at you from different doors. and the neighbors coming out of the hallways. I'm a huge Evil Dead fan. I love all the films and the show, and I was so excited for this maze. I wish I could have worked in it. I think it was one of the scariest mazes of the year, if not the scariest, and the one I had the most fun in. I hope we get to see more Evil Dead in the future at Horror Nights. Maybe Army of Darkness next. That's another one I've been waiting for years for. Anyways, that's my ranking of every maze and the Terror Tram at Halloween Horror Nights, Universal Studios Hollywood 2023. Let me know if you agree or disagree, comment below, and tell me your favorite maze of the year.